Good morning. It is a beautiful day, although it is a bit on the hot side and the sun is definitely shining. The view is beautiful and there's a lot of white fluffy clouds in the sky. Momo, is it hot? Huh? Well, stay out of the sun. Speaking of sun, it's probably the worst day to do this, but it's something that I've wanted to do for a while now. I wanted to install a garden path. I should call it a nature trail instead, because I have 20 acres here in northern Arizona, and there's a lot of unused land out there. I want the path to kind of weave through the property, and eventually I'll plant it out with native plants and trees. That way it'll be some kind of a wildlife trail. This to my left here is the center courtyard, and I'd like to be able to walk out of here, and if I have visitors, they can use it as well, and make some kind of archway here. So I'll have to cut that limb back and trim up this. This will be the beginning of the path. I'll definitely use the path a lot because every morning I take my dog for a walk. We also go for a sunset stroll, but that's usually off of the property onto the road. But yes, I'd like something in the morning that would be nice and easy and relaxing, and maybe with multiple paths. Obviously, you see this big limb here, it would have to be removed, and then that would create a nice archway there. So you'd come through the archway and you'd go across the drive here, and then around this juniper, and then kind of follow this catchment ditch. I'm gonna mow all this out and come back around. I think I'd want it to come towards the middle here and then over to the pond. I do want to make the trail clear for people who are using it, so I will line it with natural material. I should actually say non-existent pond or mud hole. That's what it is right now. Speaking of lining, I do plan on lining this in the future and digging it out more. So the trail would come through here. I think I'd go on the higher side of the pond because it's less muddy. This tends to get muddy when we have our monsoon rains. We already have some wildlife living at the pond. Not sure why, it's mostly dry, but I've seen little chipmunks, and also there was a jackrabbit here. I haven't seen any larger animals, but a lot of birds come to the pond. And then from this point on, I'm not sure. Maybe come up this way. This does get wet and mucky as well, so I would definitely have to build this up a little bit, and then maybe put a bridge here, because this is where the water flows from the higher land. It all collects and then comes down this drive and then flows down here. So yeah, a little bridge to walk over, as I wouldn't want to step in muck. And then come over this way. There is a natural wildlife trail on the far side of my property, so I wouldn't mind connecting to that. That would make it easier since it's already existing. It's a very, very thin path. I'm not sure what wildlife has used it, but nothing's used it recently. Right here where this baby pinyon pine is where the natural trail is. You can see it's a bit overgrown, but you can see little traces of it. The grass is tall. Like I said, I'm going to mow it. But it goes downhill all the way to the perimeter road. So it come from the pond, weave through here in certain places, come around and see, here's the trail here. Goes to the main road up there. I do want to use this area, so I might have the trail, once it meets the perimeter road, come up here and then come back through the property this way. Like I said, I haven't really decided. Come on, Moo. Is it too hot? You're like, no. It's not that bad. The breeze feels nice. This morning I did do a walk through the property and followed the trail, seeing how I liked it. I've got kind of a basis for it, but things could change. And like I said, I also want multiple trails. That way you don't feel like you have to take the same way all the time. At least I know where the beginning of the trail is gonna be, but I'll work on this last. I do wanna get mowing. My courtyard area has the most trees on the property. It's kind of sparse as you go further out. There is a clump of trees on the east corner, but yeah, I wish there was more trees. My neighbors have more trees than I do. But like I said, I do want to plant more native trees and bushes onto the trail. This is a fern bush here. It is native to the area. I've got 2 of them here and they don't require a lot of attention. Obviously, like most plants, I'd have to water it for the first 2 weeks every day just to help it get established. Then I could go to once a week and then eventually, hopefully it could take care of itself. We are supposed to get some rain soon, so I need to get finished what I want to before the rain comes in. I guess first things first, I should probably see if the riding lawnmower is working. Or we'll start. Well, that seat needs to be replaced. So you have to be seated on the seat or it'll cut off. Oh, come on. Oh, there it goes. All right, we're going. I am gonna have to make a couple passes because I do want a pretty wide trail. That way multiple people can walk on it. I definitely have to trim this barberry back. It's kind of sticking into the path. But I was able to make the first run, which I went all the way and then came back. Goes around this juniper. Yeah, this will be nice. At least I don't have to worry about the tall grass. And like I said, I'm gonna line it probably with pine from the forest. So we have the permits to collect the dead standing or dead down. There's a whole patch of the forest that went through a fire, so that's a good place to harvest. Look, I don't even have to plant it. We already have some natives growing along the path side, and it's blooming. Beautiful cactus, part of the Choya family. Yeah, I think I'm gonna like this. It's following this catchment ditch, like I said, and I can plant along this berm. And whenever we get heavy rains, this does fill up a bit. But I already have saltbush growing here. I'm sure other plants will pop up. I'll also seed it with some wildflowers. And here we have another juniper, but this is where the trail curves, then goes down this way. Then it'll curve again. It smells like fresh cut grass. I wouldn't imagine this grass, since it's so dry, to be like that, but yeah, I love the smell. So we're on the curve here, and then it goes to that juniper bush there, and that's where I stopped. So I'll have to figure out from this point. I was thinking about coming down this way through the barberry and the juniper, but I see a natural curve here where it's kind of low growing grass. And I could come around here and then back up through those junipers and then come down to the pond. Yeah, that's what I think I'm gonna do. But I'll start at the junipers and then come back and meet this trail. Jeff's getting the chainsaw ready and he's changing out the blade so we can go ahead and cut this limb and trim this archway up. Actually, I decided to start where I left off at the trail. I wanna know the feel of the trail as we go. Well, that was a silly mistake. I engaged the blade but forgot to put it in high, so it didn't do a very good job at cutting it my first 2 passes. So I had to do a couple more passes, but I got it down. Here's the layout of the path. It comes around this way. I was kind of scared in the beginning to cut the paths, but you know, it's grass. So if I make a mistake, it will go back. But so far, I like the layout of it. It's meandering through the property, which is what I liked. And I hear Jeff over there with a chainsaw. He's getting started. Anywho, it'll come around this juniper and then to this side of the pond, like I said. And I stopped up there. I do have a few logs on hand, so I can use those, but I do need to go harvest more. Then it'll walk right by the pond, which I think will be nice. Like I said, bridge goes here. From this point, I can actually split the path and make it go around this way and then come back around, then have a trail that breaks off from there and goes around and meets up with the natural trail. I think I'll start to the left since I know how the path's gonna go that way. I haven't really decided on the right how it's gonna be laid out, but I'll see what feels natural. Got to get some gas for the mower, but I made it a lot farther than I had planned on it. Got all the way to the front gate, but it kind of winds through here to the middle and then back over to that side. What you think, Momo? You like it? This will be our morning walk. Just gonna go fill the lawnmower up real quickly. And he got all this cleaned up. Doesn't that look 100% better? Nice clean path through here. It's nice, Moo. Look at that beautiful archway. I need to put a sign there about the trail. Look out, it's a horny toad. We used to catch them when I lived in New Mexico growing up as a kid. They're so cool. I love them. Yes. Oh, sorry, I'm not a predator. We have tons of lizards here, all different kinds, from the horny toads to I think they're chameleons, but they're the ones that do the push-ups. I think actually a lot of lizards do push-ups. Need to get a drink of water and then I'm gonna get back started. All right, we're gonna get back to it. I might actually do a trail that goes around the pond. So that way if people wanna walk around the pond, there's actually a trail here. I'm gonna take a quick walk and gotta set up my camera at the other end. So it turns here. Then it goes in between those two trees over here, then loops back around by this juniper. And then once here, it goes up and over and comes through the middle of the property over there. And it comes around here, around that big, huge juniper, or the tall one. I think that's the tallest one on the property. Then curves around this way. I did try to come between these two bushes, but I got stuck and I decided to come around this way. Anthill. We used to have a problem with anthills, but when the horny toads moved in, we noticed last season that they were eating all the ants, which is good. It kind of keeps the population down. So it comes around onto the secondary drive and then back this way. I probably need to clear this out a little bit more. And then comes over here and comes to the secondary gate. And from that point, I'll come back along this way. I'm gonna set up the camera and go get the lawnmower. We do have a walking entrance here by the secondary gate, so when we go for our evening walks, we can just get onto the road without having to open up the gate. But I'm trying to make the path, like I said, kind of meandering and going by vegetation, so there's something to look at other than just the salt bush. I like this part here because it has the junipers growing here, actually several. And I was gonna follow the natural path, which is not too far off, it's right there. And then it cuts through here. I do follow the path here, the natural trail. And then it comes up here and curves around the tree and comes back around the other one. Yeah, here's the natural trail right there. It meets up with it right here. You can see a little path. But instead of following this just straight through, I thought I'd make it more interesting and wind around this way. And I'm thinking about putting two benches, one here under the shade tree and one under that shade tree. And I need to clean it up and stuff, but I think that'll be nice. I actually saw a couple more spots that I wouldn't mind a bench at, just if people want to sit down and take in the scenery or just rest. But I'm sure I'll come across more. So it goes around this tree, then comes back over to this one here. And eventually, like I said, I'll line the path, and I'm going to actually put a border around the trees and mulch them and clean them up. Because there are some few or dead branches that need to get gone, but I'll use them as part of the path. Anyways, it comes around here, and you can see the lawnmower where I stopped. And there is the baby pinyon pine where the natural trail, oh no, ran over a cactus. Well, the good thing about that is it'll probably spread. And this is where the natural trail is. Now, don't get me wrong. I like that there's a natural trail here, but it's kind of straight and boring. So I was thinking about cutting up this way to make the trail more interesting and going around some of those trees, because right here is where I have the most junipers. All right, let's get back on the lawnmower and get to clearing more of this path. It'll probably be hard to see my path because I'll be weaving in and out of these juniper and pinyon pine. Another section done, and it's pretty windy. It's gonna be a nice long walk through here, which will be awesome. So I come around, and I did veer off here instead of following the natural trail through here. I can always cut a trail through there later if I wanna do a different trail. And it goes all the way through there to that big pinyon pine over there. It goes around this juniper first. It cuts through here. Luckily there's tall grass through here so you can clearly see the trail. But in some spots where the grass isn't as tall, it's kind of hard to see the trail. That's why I want to mark it out. There's the main gate there. I should probably cut a trail to head to the main gate. Anywho, then it cuts over here. I cut this path a bit wider. Almost can fit a vehicle through here. But I do want to drag something through here. That way kind of gets rid of the grass. I don't mind the grass, but I'm not sure what I want to do. If I want to keep it grass or put mulch in and put some kind of underlayment like cardboard to block it from growing, or just keep it more natural. It'll eventually wear down to the dirt the more people use it. So the trail goes around the tree here, but it kind of not as noticeable as the trail we were just on. It comes up to these 4 junipers here and comes in between them. And then goes around. I think I found another sitting spot on the inside of these 3 junipers. There's a nice cozy little cubby area right here. Yeah, I just have to remove that salt bush and then I can put a bench there. I think that'll be nice. And then it continues on. Comes around this juniper. Well, actually, in between this juniper, that juniper, and also that huge pinyon pine. That's nice. I rarely walk my property like this. So installing this path is gonna be nice. I can explore the property more. Yeah, I didn't realize there was such a big pinyon pine here. It's covered by the juniper. It turns the corner, then it goes around, then up to those trees there and comes back through these trees. I'll show you this little area. I actually like walking through here. It's cool. I wanted to add in this extra loop trail for those who want to take it. And it does come back around and comes through here. Isn't this nice right here? Needs to be trimmed up a little bit, or people can just duck. But that's nice. Ooh, don't want to poke my eye out there. Okay, yeah, I need to clean that up. And then this is where I stopped. I want to clean up this too and make an archway through here. and then continue on some way that way. But I think I'm going to clean up these spots, continue for a little further, and then that's going to be it. At least I'll go through there with the lawnmower. The other part of the trail is right there, so I'll probably just come out and turn left here, go around that juniper, and then down. We can start on the back part of the property. Like I said, this is going to be a pretty windy, long trail. So I'll leave the lawnmower and my gear here, go grab the chainsaw, and start cleaning up some of this mess. Well, that was kind of a hike back. Anyways, I think I'm going to add bird feeders all throughout the trail. That way it introduces wildlife onto the trail. I think that'll be nice. Good thing you're in the shade under the porch move. It's hot. Don't want to be out in the sun. Speaking of water, that's another thing. I want to add some water features on the trail. I think that'll help bring in the birds and other wildlife. Wow, it's already after 3 o'clock. I'm going to fix some lunch and then get back to it. Like I said, I don't have that much more to do. Just clean up those 2 arches out there and then do a little bit more mowing. I didn't really have breakfast, so this is more of a brunch. It is a pork chop fried egg and cheddar sandwich. Oh, I forgot I have to grill it. So we'll grill it for a little bit, and then I'll have lunch and get back to it. Yummy. I had a piece of pork chop fall out as I sliced it thin. So after I got through eating, it started to sprinkle a bit, but it's cleared up now, so I decided to take about an hour break. It's a little after 4:30, so I need to grab my chainsaw and get that one cleaned up and finish up before it gets too late. Momo, you want to go for a little walk with me? Huh? Just grab this one. It's the one that has the battery in it. I think this is the one he changed the chain on. So Jeff just came out and told me it's actually the other one he changed the chain on and filled it up with oil.
Clean out the inside, boy. It was packed with I don't know whatever we were cutting. It's sawdust, I guess.
Oh, okay. Drove the truck back over. I've had a lot of walking today. So he is going to clean this up while I continue mowing. These are the 2 archways. He's going to clean up this one here and this one here. That should be good, other than, wait, the ones that are dead right here. See that one that's dead and then the one down there? That looks pretty good. This one here has a lot of lower limbs he needs to clean up. It shouldn't be too much. Don't forget these kind of dead ones too, like that. This one, yeah. And then the ones on this side, that one that sticks out there straight, it's kind of, oh, wow. Look at that huge pack rat nest. That's a mansion. Yeah, that's gonna look good. The dead one above you. Cut it all the way back here. What do you think, Kellogg, huh? Are you liking the new trail? Wish we had more of the junipers now, since it makes the trail cozier. While he's finishing that, I think what I'm going to do is come around here. Then I'll go to that big juniper over there. Come back around over here somewhere. I'll figure it out once I get over there. So I went all the way through there and then through the field, up, and then back around this way and ending here, which is the mowed out area for when I have guests. It's the overflow parking if it's too busy up front. But there is a road that leads back to the drive road back there. And then we do have another trail here. So I just might connect these two right here. That way when people are parked in the overflow, they can take the trail. Although this trail leads to the perimeter road, I might do a side trail that goes off and into this grass here, and then back into those junipers back there, and then swing back around to that side of the property somewhere. Like I said, I'm trying to make the path wide, and I think it looks good. Having to run over some bushes. I'm okay with that. There's plenty of salt bush out here. There's the main drive there. And this swings around to here. I did a little loop around this juniper. And then, like I said, it goes down and then kind of goes parallel with the property road or the perimeter road. And then comes back over here and back to the bushes or the junipers over there. So I won't show you the rest. I'm sure you get my meaning, because this part doesn't go through junipers. It's, like I said, through the field, so there's not much to look at. And I think I have enough time to finish this grassy area up here, and then we're gonna take the dogs into the Grand Canyon area and go have dinner and take them for a stroll. And then tomorrow morning, I'll take this trail and see how it is. I'm excited to get this more established. But I'm very happy to just be having the trail cut. This is where I think I'll turn. Okay, and I am done. I didn't think I would be able to finish today, but I was able to. And it comes out right where Jeff is. So this is a perfect spot. He can actually start here if he wanted to and end up on the other side. But this is the cut path for my friend Jimmy's spot. He usually stays back there when he's here. But now this is the beginning of the trail, and I think I might do some kind of entranceway here with posts or an arbor just so people know that it's a trailhead. I'm sure once I line the trail with the logs that people will realize what it is. Yeah, pretty nice wide trail. That way multiple people can walk side by side. They don't have to walk behind each other or in front of each other. This is gonna be nice. I can't wait to start using it myself. So there is a secondary middle drive back here that leads back to, like I said, my friend's spot. And also it connects to the perimeter road back there. But the trail crosses it here and goes all through here and then back down where those two double junipers are by the property line, and then back up to this field. I almost didn't see this baby juniper. There's actually two of them here, and almost ran over. I'm glad I didn't. Anyways, step one of the trail is done, and it is usable right now, but as time progresses, it'll be better. I know it will. All right, we're gonna go run, like I said, to go have dinner. I want to thank y'all for hanging out with me during this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And also, if you want to hype the video, that would be amazing. And we'll see you next time. If you want to watch more videos, they'll be over here. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so there. And happy gardening.